Welcome in. Sport and Order is with you for your Thursday this week. That's right, 5 Eastern, 4 Central. A battle of rookie NBA superstars today, of course, as we are knee-deep in the NBA playoffs. Let's go, Phoenix Suns. Big Game 3. Chris Paul apparently healthier. Looking forward to a night of NBA hoops. But first, stick with us for a little bit here. Sport and Order. This is how it works. 7 questions on the board. First 1 to 4 will go home victorious and take home all these Sport and Order prizes. You get 30 seconds to answer each question, and then I'll be the judge. I will be the jury on each question here as we play again to 4 in a best of 7. The NBA playoffs front and center with a little bit of baseball kicked in here as well. Let's meet our contestants today. Duncan Smith is a site expert for Hoops Habit. He's also covering the Detroit Pistons. He loves Big Bad Ben Wallace and a little Chauncey Billups. Duncan, welcome to Sport and Order. Good to have you.
Hey, Mark. I am really happy to be here.
I think the Pistons will be in the playoffs in 2025 here, Duncan. Don't worry. They're coming. It's just a little slow. Ty Windisch, host of the Eurostep Podcast Network, coordinator, Blue Wires Pod, and a huge Milwaukee Buck believer. Ty, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope the Bucks are still in the playoffs by 2025. Then Duncan and I can really come together for some more playoff pods.
Let's get some old school hey, anything is possible. This Milwaukee team could indeed be built to last. Let's start, though, as we get into it in the Western Conference. We'll get to the Bucks in a second. But I think maybe the biggest storyline going in the playoffs right now is what in the world has happened to the Los Angeles Clippers, who tanked their way to playing the Mavericks in the first round and have now lost the first 2 games at home. Some thought the Clippers would make a deep playoff run. Some thought they'd be in the NBA Finals. Let's just go full dramatic implosion. If the Clippers lose to the Mavs, which it certainly looks like they will, what do the Clippers do going forward? The question is, will Kawhi, that's what matters most, will he opt out? And if he does, where will he go? Duncan, let's start with you.
I don't think he's opting out. I think if he was prioritizing a championship over everything, he wouldn't have left Toronto. I think he likes living in LA. I think he likes his little pressure and, excess expectations that might come from being a Clipper rather than a Laker. He could have gone either place. He could have stayed in Toronto. He had all these options. He's not opting out. He'll stay.
That's very interesting. Kawhi going for the somewhat easy life in LA, and I know he's got titles, so he doesn't, I guess, need one to solidify his resume. Ty, I might be jumping into your answer. Go ahead. What do you think? What's going to happen with Kawhi?
I think he is opting out and then re-signing probably a one-on-one deal with the Clippers. I think he is staying too. Duncan said it. He wants to be there. He left a championship team to go to LA. He is like a puppet master. We saw him orchestrate the Paul George move on his way in. Maybe he's going to orchestrate another Paul George move or a different move. I think he's going to reshuffle the pieces around him to stay contending in LA, but I don't think he's leaving just yet. Maybe next year, though.
So you got him opting out, signing a 1-year deal, perhaps giving the Clippers some flexibility to augment the roster, maybe getting Paul George kicked out of LA. So a gangster move there, and like, you're out, and I'm controlling things. Interesting. Whereas Duncan just thinks he's going to play it nice. You know what, Ty, I think I'm with you. This is a very sly, creative, intelligent Kawhi who knows he's got the power here. So maybe he will do something as bold as opt out and say, I'm coming back for 1, and you got to prove it to me. I like it. 1-0. Ty is on the board here. As we go to Milwaukee and look at those Bucks up 2-0, and game 2 was super impressive. The Bucks looking decidedly better than Jimmy Butler's Heat. Here's the question. Is this finally, because we have been waiting for a minute here, is this finally the Bucks team that will make it to the NBA Finals? Not even ask if they're going to win it, just make it to the Finals. Ty, you're a Milwaukee guy. You get to go first.
I will say decisively yes, as worried as I am about that second round and those Brooklyn Nets. That's the great injustice of this Bucks run, is they finally put it all together and there's a team with 3 superstars waiting not in the conference finals, but in the second round. That's tough, but I think this Bucks team really does have it all put together. They are optimized around Giannis Antetokounmpo. Drew Holiday adds a whole new aspect. They have multiple defensive coverages. The Bucks are ready. They have the best player in any series. I'll say it. Bucks going to the finals, finally.
And not necessarily a surprise the Ty's going there, although pessimism when you get closer to the product sometimes does come out. Duncan, what's going to happen with this Milwaukee team?
I don't think they're a finalist team, but I do think they're an Eastern Conference finalist team. I am kind of invested in this champions journey that they're on. Repeated disappointment after regular season success. They're putting some of the pieces together. They took the regular season to try some things out and to deviate from their one size fits all defensive schemes. I just think that the East is really tough this year, and for me, the Sixers are the Eastern Conference finalist winner. But I do think the Bucks are going to get there. I think they're going to take on the Nets, and I think they're going to beat the Nets.
So this is very interesting because I thought that somebody would say that, like, it's as well as Milwaukee's playing right now, the best team in the East is the Brooklyn Nets, old school Carm here. But neither of you went there. Duncan's answer, I guess, because you didn't go there, is a little bit more on brand for me for Milwaukee. Like, you'd get by Brooklyn, and then all of a sudden, okay, the Sixers come up and get you. That has been Milwaukee Central. And somehow I'm not going to allow myself to get sold on one really, really good performance against the Heat, because let's be realistic here. They very well could have lost game 1. Perhaps should have lost game 1. Duncan, you're on the board here. 1-1.
Feels good.
As we go to LA, where the Lakers are home tonight for game 3, shaking off that game 1 loss. Huge performance from Anthony Davis, who looks like himself in game 2. Clutch shots from LeBron. We got another LeBron question coming a little bit later. But they look healthy. They look like the Lakers. So the question is, can anyone stop the Lakers from repeating? That's right, 1 win in the playoffs. I've already got them going all the way, although I had it before the playoffs started. Duncan, can anyone stop the Lakers from repeating?
I think this Lakers team has maybe the hardest road to walk. Maybe NBA history is a long way to go back, but it's definitely one of the hardest roads in recent history. You've got whatever comes out of that Clippers Mavs series ahead of you. You've got probably the Utah Jazz. You've still got to get past the Phoenix Suns. They've got a real gauntlet to walk. So I mean, let's see them do it again. Let's see them do it in game 3 before we can even really look that far ahead. Anthony Davis looks like a superhero when the mid-range shots are falling. And we'll see what happens when they're not. It's not pretty. So we'll see. I'm not 100% bought in, and it hurt. I hate to sell a LeBron James team short, but I'm not there yet.
It's full questioning the Lakers. Well, A, the run, and B, if they're going to be able to play consistent basketball. Ty, where are you at?
I'm glad the question is Ken and not Will, because Will, I truly have no idea. The Western Conference playoffs this year may be just the best in terms of competitive balance field we've seen in quite some time. We've seen underdogs win already. I think we have a lot of evenly matched series, except for the Mavs, who are just beating up the Clippers. But I think any of the team the Lakers will see on their way to the finals potentially could beat them. I could also see LA beating any team in front of them. I think this is going to be a fascinating run for LeBron and company, but I want to see LeBron-Luka. I'm hoping we get that matchup.
Wow. I mean, that was a massive straddling of the fence there by Ty. Could it happen? It might happen. Could not happen. They could win. They might not win. But neither of you went where I'm going here. They're winning. They have however you want to rank them. They have 2 of the top, call it 5 players in the game. I don't see this Western Conference gauntlet that you guys are pulling up here. The Phoenix Suns, I mean, Chris Paul's dinged up. Portland, Denver, your Jamal Murray's out. I don't see it. And then at the end of the road here, who's going to jump up? Maybe Utah, but I don't even know, because you got how ready as Donovan Mitchell to make a deep run here. Neither of you went there. Duncan, you were, I guess, a little bit more definitive on it. So I'll lean your way here because Ty was fully on the coulda, shoulda, maybe, coulda, woulda. So Duncan, you get the point here. 2-1. Let's go to the New York Knicks. It was a party in Manhattan last night. Unbelievable. These Knicks fans, good for you, man. Let it all out. It's been 8 years since you won a playoff game, and it happened last night. Hats off to my former Chicago guys, by the way, Derrick Rose, Taj Gibson. There you go, D Rose, Tibbs, coaching the way here. I'm loving it, but I'm not sure about this series. I'm not sure about this Knicks team. They're relying on Derrick a whole lot here. But so the question is, will this game 2 be the highlight for the Knicks postseason, or are they perhaps headed for a multiple playoff run here, get past the first round, see what happens here, get past Atlanta? Let's see. Ty, you're up here. Question 4. Was that the highlight for the Knicks, or we're going to get more?
I think that was the highlight for the Knicks. As much I like the Knicks people. They're so happy right now. They got a tough matchup. Atlanta is a really good team with a lot of offensive weapons. I don't think the Knicks are deep enough to keep up. This pains me, especially as a Bucks person. Bogdan Bogdanović is probably going to swing that series. Kind of cuts me deep, but I just think the Hawks are legit. I think they're really good. They've already stolen home court back. So I think the Knicks maybe get another game. I don't think they get this series. I think the Hawks are going to beat New York, probably in 6.
Buying in on Atlanta. Trae Young and his father enjoying hearing that, as I know they're watching Sport in Order. Duncan, what do you think?
You said it, Mark. They're relying a lot on Derrick Rose, and he was in Detroit for a couple of years, so I've become a little more accustomed and a little more familiar with him than I would have been otherwise. And there's one thing that you can count on when it comes to Derrick Rose, and it is heavy minutes will eventually lead to his downfall. Right now, as crazy as it sounds, as Derrick Rose goes, so go the New York Knicks. Game 2 is a lot of fun. I really hope Knicks fans enjoyed it. Next year will be fun too, I'm sure, but I don't think that this is going to be a multi-round run for them. I think that, I think we're peaking right now.
Duncan, you just hurt my heart. You can't, yep. We have another game coming quick here. Derrick's not going to be able to recover, but this is the new Derrick. He's back, Duncan. He's healthy. He's doing it. But yes,
Yeah.
I'm nervous about it. Every time he goes down, he got cracked a bunch of times last night. It was like, and tweaked his ankle too. So yeah, I guess I slightly leaning towards Ty here just to get away from the Derrick Rose will always get hurt take and just giving credit to Atlanta. The Hawks had a very busy offseason. They had a very interesting year, coaching change and all. And I do think they're playing their best basketball right now. And you got a guy who's definitely trying to prove the critics wrong right now. So I think it's a very interesting Atlanta team. So we'll make it 2-2 here. Go into question 5. And now we're not so much looking on the court, but a little bit of off the court. And Russell Westbrook had popcorn dumped on him last night by a 76er fan. That fan has now had his season ticket revoked. And you also had perhaps spitting in New York as well. So this has been a very front and center, what are fans doing moment in the NBA playoffs. But no easy answers here. So my question is this: is there anything else the NBA can do to protect its players from the fan stupidity that we're seeing, or is that just part of the game forever? Can the NBA do anything different here? Duncan, you got anything?
Well, I think the NBA has to protect its players as best as possible. Obviously there's no way to ensure complete compliance with drunk, rowdy fans the first time they're in a playoff environment. In the case of the New York Knicks, many years. But I do think that the league should crack down as hard as they possibly can. I think that removing the season ticket holders season tickets is a start. I think that a lifetime ban from the venue is probably in order. I think if the league has the ability to do so, I think that they should probably ban these fans from all NBA venues. Lifetime ban. It's a one strike thing as far as I'm concerned. If the teams and the players have the ability to press charges, I think that they should be free to do so. I don't know legally what kind of recourse they have for dumping popcorn I don't know if it really reaches the assault threshold. But I mean, the guy doesn't need to ever go to an NBA game in person again, as far as I'm concerned.
That is interesting. Hey, you're Mr. Sixer fan who had season tickets for how long? And by the way, the Sixers might be making a run to the NBA Finals. You're out, but you can't go to any games on the road either. So you're not, no bus ticket, plane ticket, train ride, or whatever to Washington so you can see them. That's interesting. Ty, what do you think?
Yeah, I think take out that word indefinitely. I think that's a weak word. We've seen that mean everything from for life to, a week. Indefinitely can mean anything in that range. It could mean an hour. So go back to the Adam Silver, the Donald Sterling treatment for life with the very intense high arched eyebrows on these fans. I agree. Get them out of venues. And if the players want, they should be able to try to dunk on these people. I'm dead serious. Like, if you want to dump popcorn on Russell Westbrook, he should be able to poster you and stream it. Put it on TV. Let's add some humiliation to the lifetime ban.
See, you had it, and I like where you're going because that's what they deserve. But then, see, this is where a lot of times we make the villain or the guy who's throwing the popcorn, we give him a lot of publicity. So I do think that one of the things we do right here, at least TV wise, is try not to show that dude. At least if they're running on the court in the middle of the game, because, hey mom, I'm, that we don't need. Although I do love the concept though of Russell Westbrook dunking on him and doing whatever else, but I'd probably I don't think would be up for that game. So Duncan, we're going to put you up here 3-2 as we sneak in a baseball question before we hit LeBron James for our final. Major League Baseball pitchers' spin rates are up, and if you're not a diehard baseball fan, that just means that it's become much more difficult for hitters to be successful. Batting averages are down at an all-time low since 1968, at least, the year of the pitcher. So the accusations are coming in that pitchers are using foreign substances on the baseball to increase their ability to get this spin, and it gives them a further advantage that they really don't need at this point because they're throwing as incredibly hard as it is. Should Major League Baseball, Ty, should they step in with more strict rules for pitchers who are caught doctoring the baseball? They could also perhaps look a little closer because they know what's going on. The numbers do not add up. Ty, what do you think? Should baseball step in, or MLB, not necessarily putting it all on the umpires in a game?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think, we saw a similar crackdown where there were automatic length suspensions if you're using performance enhancing drugs. I mean, maybe it's not the same length in all of these cases, but this is a performance enhancing substance too. You're just not injecting it, you're just putting it on your hands if that's what they're doing. I also think they should just look at the baseballs themselves. They changed the ball recently. It seems like that's really driven down batting averages too. And if none of that other stuff works, maybe it is time to move back the mound. I know it hasn't moved in 10,000 years or whatever, but people were not throwing this fast back when the black and white movies and everything else, when baseball rules first became a thing.
Three-prong attack here. Everything on the table. Duncan, does MLB need to do anything?
I think that they should definitely have the ability to do something. It seems as though, modifying the ball, whether it be through like foreign substances, is what they're doing. These balls are, aside from the ones that get fouled out of play, these balls can be accessed after the games, right? Or even during the games. So it seems as though there shouldn't really be any kind of easy out for pitchers who are breaking the rules. So, I mean, even if you can't get a guy during a game, you can probably catch him afterwards. There can be, suspensions going forward if they're not following, these rules about not doctoring baseballs. So, yeah, I think that leaving things as is, as offense is going downhill, I think that leaving things as is probably it's a bad place for Major League Baseball. So yeah, they should certainly go out of their way to find some way to enforce whatever they can on pitchers.
Let's get some deterrence out there. Players are going to do what they can to get away with whatever they can get away with. And Ty, you brought up steroids, and I think it fits under that same umbrella. No one's going to say anything. I'm Barry Bonds. I'm hitting 30 homers a year. This guy Sammy in Chicago is hitting 700. Okay, fine. I'll do the same thing. So that's what Major League Baseball is up against. If your guys are going to figure out ways to cheat the system, it's one of the tried and true things that you'll ever see in sports. Ty, I'm more with you on this one because I do think there might have to be a multiple attack here on how to make baseball more palatable, more digestible for those of us who actually like to see some action. Ball
need
in play.
dingers. We need dingers.
Yep.
Absolutely need dingers.
Dingers are great, but I even ball in play, stolen bases. Give me some old school. And old school, by the way, like there was always doctoring of the baseball, but which is why I think you got to do a bunch of stuff here. So we're going to tie it up at 3. And we're going to go for it all in question 7. And we're going back, as I mentioned, to LeBron James. And he did it again. He may not be the greatest basketball player of all time, but he is the greatest superstar flopper who has ever played the game. This man is incredible. He fell to the floor like a tray and hit him when little Chris Paul gave him a little hip bump, and the shoulder was somehow dinged up. And then, of course, LeBron came back, and he's hitting huge shots, and he's doing it again. We've seen this from LeBron time and time again. And, hey, same deal. He's taking advantage of his stature and his acting talents. So my question is this: should James face harsher repercussions, including perhaps even suspension, for his repeated acts of flopism? I mean this somewhat complimentarily, by the way, because he just, whatever it takes to win, LeBron's doing it. But also, I just don't like it, as it's a bad visual for the league. Should though, there should be more repercussions. Duncan, what do you think?
I think he should be held to the same standard that everybody else is. I don't know that he should be suspended for his exceptional performances. But yeah, I do think that Marcus Smart gets fined, LeBron should get fined. I think that it should be a one-size-fits-all punishment. He's also taking more physical punishment on the court than a lot of these guys. So I think that things more or less even out for him in the end, simply because he's so big and so strong and takes so much physical abuse that he's trying to sort of even things out, I think, for him. But at the same time, you can't just let it go. You got to hold him to the same standard that you would hold any other player.
Not an easy guy to referee. That is a fair statement. Ty, what should happen here?
It's not easy to referee Giannis either, but if he takes 11 seconds at the free throw line and gets hit with the mythical 10-second violation, I think we can hold LeBron accountable for all the flopping. Personally, I think the flopping rules are terrible. They're not evenly enforced. And even when they are enforced, a fine is not deterring even a Marcus Smart level player who's making 8 figures a year, much less a LeBron who owns companies. I think flop should be techs, quite honestly. I think a blatant flop should be a tech. Then you get to a suspension. If you're flopping that much to hit the tech mark, you're suspended. That's fine, but make it impactful to the game. Make it detrimental to get it out of here. You need to de-incentivize flopping. I say call the T if someone flops real obviously, like Rudy Gobert when he was out of bounds a couple nights ago.
1 free throw, 2 free throws?
Just 1 free throw. Just 1 free throw, but 2 techs and you're out of the game, so you got to be a little careful.
Ooh,
But they'll never call the second one on LeBron, as we all know.
Well, see, okay, that's interesting. But Ty, I really like where you went there. I think you should have said 2 free throws, and I would have liked it even more, because I do think in the moment, hey, you are going to get penalized right now, and we're going to add it up. So it's a twofold. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one, Ty. You just wowed me, and I think you just took home sport and order on this fine Thursday with your in the moment penalty and down the line penalty. Duncan,
I protest.
You should. Everybody who loses in sport and order, whoever has always protested, and for the record, there's always been a good argument. Duncan, you were right there as well, and it's true on our last answer that look. The guy's not easy to referee, but there's a lot of dudes in the league. Like I like that you brought up Giannis too, Ty. But a lot of good coverage today, gentlemen. We're enjoying the NBA playoffs. You two are covering it phenomenally. Duncan, where can people read you? Where can people follow your work? I know you've got quite the following already, but for those who are curious.
Yeah, you can read my work on Fansided's own Hoops Habit, where I'm the site expert, and you can follow me on Twitter at Duncan Smith NBA.
And you would be the 20,000 something and follower top, which is way more than I have. Congratulations. Good work, Duncan. Ty, where can people follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Ty Windisch, TIWINDISCH, just like on the screen down there, wherever it is. And check out the Eurostep Podcast Network, my podcast, the Eurostep, joined up with another podcast, Win in 6, wherever you find your podcast, under Eurostep Podcast Network for that comprehensive Milwaukee Bucks coverage.
Please follow Ty. We're trying to get to 5,000 before the end of the playoffs.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Pleasure to have you. Look forward to doing it again. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Most importantly, thank you to one and all for watching Sport and Order on this Thursday. We are back next week on Thursday as well, because Monday is Memorial Day. So we'll see you next Thursday, 5 Eastern, 4 Central. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.